So guys, Tinubu's quest to come back for second term is what is holding his two hands and his two legs. Tinubu cannot take right decisions because he's afraid it might affect him in the upcoming elections.
There is no earthly reason why somebody should come to Abia State and let his cattle roam in our farms. There's nowhere in the world where people are left to roam everywhere. Nowhere in the world. The best cattle producing countries in the world are done through ranching. The North, the landmass of the North, has more than enough land for ranching. And that, even Awolowo, may his soul rest in peace, set up ranches when he was a premier. So, this is not rocket science.
It seems like rocket science to the northern governors.
No, it's not. You see, the point really is, when you now engage them outside of the potencies of power, they tell you the truth. There was a funny part of our debate on the floor on that same ranching bill. When we said, okay, so everybody will go back to their states of origin. And some people got up and said, no, you cannot let, these people don't have a state of origin. If anybody don't have a state of origin in Nigeria, he's not a Nigerian. And that's what we have been saying all along.
So guys, Senator Abaribe has come out to reply Tinubu on his plan, to use this new Ministry of Livestock to establish ranches across the states of the Federation. He has come out to say that the North has enough land, to establish ranches so that you don't start asking states like in the Southeast who have, just a very small landmass to start making provision for ranching ground. So guys, we all know that many people have condemned, this establishment of a new ministry. Number one is going to suck into the little resources. Nigeria is broke. We don't have money. We don't even need the establishment of more ministry. This is making it 50 ministries in Nigeria, and yet none of them is productive. They've ended up becoming a means to siphon money. Tell me what Tinubu has achieved in his administration, despite having 50 ministries, 50 Nigerians, 50. Buhari left 40-something. Tinubu came and added it to 48. And now he has added, I think, 2 extra ministries, making it 50 ministries. Tell me what Tinubu is going to be doing with 50 ministries, despite the fact that Nigeria has shortage of resources. We don't have money. Don't forget that Tinubu has gone ahead to launch his new private jet. Many people are lamenting. Showore has raised his voice, over that new purchase of Tinubu's private jet, despite the hunger in the land, despite people wailing, crying, agonizing because of hunger, and as a result of, hike in prices of food. This government has the lever to go buy new private jets, and they are telling Nigerians not to protest. This is one of the reasons why Nigerians should even protest badly, because this government is not considering the masses at all. Anyway, that's by the side. So guys, Mr. Abaribe, Senator Abaribe, has come out to tell Tinubu that the North has enough. Don't forget that Ganduje, who was the governor of Kano, told the Fulanis then that they should come to Kano. He has enough landmass for them to establish, ranches for their cows. These people refuse. They prefer to carry AK-47 all over the country. So guys, Senator Abaribe was on Channels Television where he granted an interview, and I'm going to let you watch this interview. Take your time, watch this video, listen for yourself how boldly Senator Abaribe spoke, because it is time to speak up.
That everybody knows at this moment that a legitimate concern or a legitimate agitation by those who are seeking for their rights within the country of Nigeria has been hijacked by those criminals and all those type of undesirables, and all that they have done is to impose mayhem on the Southeast. And at any point that you engage with any of those elements, all that they will tell you that, oh, because they are holding him, that is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself. And despite the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself has said, I never authorized the sit-at-home, it should stop, nobody should kill anybody from the Southeast, yet this continues to go on. So we now know that the criminals are, hinging their peg on his incarceration to continue to perpetrate all this mayhem on the Southeast. And so what we feel, really, and what everybody feels, is that if we have a political solution in which we are able to convince the federal government of the need, since everybody wants peace within this country, and if one part of the country is bleeding, every other part is also bleeding, there's the necessity to, so that you remove that rug from under their feet, which they are using. And so anyone who now continues to, murder people, do all manners of things, and then you now know that that's nothing but, they are no longer going to use the flag of an agitation to cover it. That's why we are all very involved in it.
But is Mazi, I like to think that you've also spoken with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on this. Is he in on what you're trying to propose to the federal government?
Well, him and his lawyers and everybody also, we briefed them before we go, so they are very well aware of our efforts.
One thing you've also talked about is the possibility of this mayhem continuing even after his release, if the federal government obliges with the political solution that you've proposed, especially because he's spoken on several occasions to say that that is not what he stands for in the Southeast. And the people have continued to listen to Simon Ekpa instead. So what's the guarantee that when he is released, there's going to be some sort of peace, that the people will now listen to him, even though you've said that if the mayhem continues, the rug's been pulled from under their feet, and then the federal government can know that this is just pure perpetrators of evil, so to speak?
Well, the point really is this. If you have a wound, you stitch it, put medication. Is that not so?
Absolutely.
Fine. So we need to stitch the wound. And how do you stitch it? To stitch that wound, you have to remove that cut. And that cut is what they claim is his incarceration. Simon Ekpa himself, as far as I'm concerned, you could also see he has also pegged it on Nnamdi Kanu. So if Nnamdi Kanu is released, then he cannot make that argument anymore. You understand? So I think that we should focus on the most important thing, yes, which is to try our best to get the government to see with the leaders of the Southeast and what we think. What somebody who lives in Finland just continues to talk from there says it's not the feeling of the people of the Southeast.
And you're optimistic that those governments will listen, because the previous government did not take up this, did not accept the political solution.
The point is, what will a government do? A government that wants to bring peace will always listen to its citizens. And we are citizens of the country. We are leaders in that part of the country, and all of us have come together. We do not see the possibility that the government will reject outrightly. We think that the government will listen to the leaders of the Southeast. And don't forget that these leaders cut across all parties, cut across all spheres of people, cut across the traditional issues and all that, and including members of the cabinet of Mr. President himself. So if all of us are on one page, I think that it's axiomatic that
Absolutely.
they will have a positive review of what you're asking for.
One thing is clear. There's almost a knowledge of what the security situation or the cause of the insecurity in the Southeast is. I don't know if, as a federal lawmaker, with your experience and conversations on security you've had, that Parliament is aware of the cause of insecurity or the persistent insecurity in the country in general, let's say excluding the Southeast.
Yes, the Parliament has, over the years, taken proactive measures. The Parliament has engaged with the security chiefs. The Parliament has always engaged with the government. The Parliament has also given its recommendations. The Parliament has had parleys. We have had security retreats. We have had there's absolutely so many tomes, volumes of reports that we have, which we submitted to government, and we have also continued to engage at all times. So we know that there are all these type of things, the question of what's going on in the Sahel region, question of what is happening everywhere. But we think that with a strong military, which we think Nigeria has, with the willpower of the president, which we think President Tinubu has, that the sky should be our limit. Nothing should stop us from dealing with this problem. We know that there is an an intermeshing of religious, ethnic, tribal, and all manners of things included there. But then, one thing I've always known is that everybody knows who is clear-eyed and straightforward about what needs to be done, and that should just be followed.
Now that you bring up religious and tribal meshings, as you put them, it takes me to the bill, the open grazing bill, the ban on open grazing bill, which has skilled second reading in the Senate. And you would know better, I'd like to think, because it's in place in Abia State. So how effective has that been, and how do you think that tribal or religious sentiments could affect the passage of this bill, and how will it be received by the herders specifically?
What baffles some of us, really, is that we see solutions, and then we pretend that we don't see that solution. The matter is very clear. There's nowhere in the world where people are left to roam everywhere. Nowhere in the world. The best cattle producing countries in the world are done through ranching. The North, the landmass of the North, has more than enough land for ranching. And that, even Awolowo, may his soul rest in peace, set up ranches when he was a premier. So, this is not rocket science.
It seems like rocket science to the northern governors.
No, it's not. You see, the point really is, when you now engage them outside of the apportances of power, they tell you the truth. And so it behooves on the president and his cabinet and those who are involved to deal with this issue. Don't forget that the question of banditry, that the Sultan of Sokoto himself, at one time, under when Buhari was president, said that 90% of all this banditry coming from this way, we are from the same Fulani. He said it. It wasn't me that said it. So it's not like we don't know. You understand? Now, there is no earthly reason why somebody should come to Abia State and let his cattle roam in our farms as far south as Abia. In fact, last week, some youths from my own local government, Obingwa, in Abia State, my own local government, from a place called Abambato, they sent SOS to me that there were these herders with their, just killing, wiping out their farms, their crops, so far south. So there is nowhere in the world that is done. And the sooner we get to grips with that, the better for everybody. Now, Malaysia is even bringing some type of alfalfa grass that can now thrive in semi-arid regions. So it's not grass. It's just people roaming around who want to, I will say, colonize a place, now take over people's lands. And until we are, I will say, truthful to each other, there's no way we can go beyond this mouthing whether it can be done or not. It was unfortunate that the Buhari government was the government that openly supported people who are not Nigerians. And, you know, there was a funny part of our debate on the floor on that same ranching bill. When we said, okay, so everybody will go back to their states of origin. And some people got up and said, no, you cannot let, these people don't have a state of origin. If anybody don't have a state of origin in Nigeria, he's not a Nigerian. And that's what we have been saying all along. So, part of, I will say, good relations is that I will respect your rights and you will respect my rights as a citizen. There are some kind of arguments that are made which we find utterly ridiculous. So when somebody makes an argument that says that an Igbo spare parts dealer can operate anywhere in the country, of course, the Igbo spare part dealer buys his goods, rents a shop, stays in his shop, and does his business, you buy and sell. The Igbo spare part dealer does not carry an AK-47 to kill someone. So then somebody else is going around with his cattle, destroys your farm, kills you and your children and their wife and family, and then you tell me that no, he's free to do that. How can those two things be even compared?
I'm curious to ask you this question.
Yeah.
With what you say, it's almost an assertion. And as illegal as it is, are you aware of any prosecutions in this regard?
That is the point. And that is why most people are so bothered. Some people have been arrested. They are set free. People have been stopped from going somewhere. Why? Because at the end of the day, you go back to the security agencies, and the security agencies will tell you that their hands are tied. When some women came to me in my local government, all that we said, oh, please go to the DPO, because I cannot take laws into my hand. It is the security agents that are supposed to do it. And most states have passed those laws, but a state does not have its own security agency because they have to refer back to both the Nigerian police, Nigerian military, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force. So at the end of the day, there must be a clear-eyed determination by the governments in this country that the killing of Nigerians must stop, that the taking over of lands of Nigerians must stop, that the destruction of properties, farms and all that must stop, unless that is done. And how do you do it? That is why this question of saying, let everyone go back to where Is their state of origin? Establish ranches there. Look, there was a particular time that Governor Ganduje, who is now the chairman of APC, said at the time that there were all this debate about ranches, that Kano State alone has more than enough land for all the cow in Nigeria. He said so. And nobody has said, oh no. There are more cows in Botswana than in Nigeria. You know that. And the size of Botswana is the size of 2 states in the southeast. It's just a question of will. It's a question of our doing the right thing in the 21st century. There's no way anybody can assume that the way we lived in the 19th century is the way we're going to live today. It's just not going to be possible. We will always be having these conflicts if it's not dealt expeditiously.
So where does the president's proposed new ministry, livestock, come in? Do you think it's going to address food insecurity, or perhaps this farmers' heritage clash?
I have no idea about what the dimensions and the basin, because as much as it has been proposed, just an executive proposal, we have not seen any documentation. None of us in the National Assembly, if he has come, I haven't seen it yet, to say these are the things that the livestock ministry will do. These are their terms of reference. These are the areas that it will have to deal with. So until I see that, I'm not at liberty to comment. It is the prerogative of the president to create
a ministry.
What the Constitution says is that you must have at least one minister from a state. And of course, that is why we also, some of us from the Southeast, we say that these are the things that also are bringing up all this sense of alienation from the people of the Southeast. So you have, at the moment now, 50 ministries. Assuming you share it equally, or you do it equally, you probably is not going to have the type of anomaly we have, that out of 50 ministries, the Southeast has only 5, 1 per state. Yet, the Southwest has about 10, the other ones have about 9, and so forth. And so, the question has always been, this ethnicization of different things, does it all go well for the country? One of the essential things in dealing with people is always to try to be fair. And when people perceive that you're not fair, you cannot engender a sense of support from them. And so we think that as we look at all this, that as the president is going to revamp his cabinet, as we are hearing by rumors, I'm not very sure, that maybe there will be a juggling to make things fairer for everybody.
But when you talk about fairness, I know that under the Buhari administration, the Southeast complained about this, and this is the same thing.
I do not think so. Let me tell you what happened. It started from the Obasanjo administration. The Obasanjo administration had 37 ministers, 36 states, 1 each, and then went further to have 1 minister per zone. That's what happens to take care of zonal, I would say, interests. And that was maintained by all the presidents until President Buhari, President Tinubu now increased the number to 49. And from increasing it to 49, has now increased it to 50. So this is the first time that he has gone beyond.
I was asking about
one.
fairness, comparing the fairness,
question of
concerns around
fairness. Let me just, well, the point about fairness is that, except for the President Obasanjo,
good luck,
Yaradua, and Jonathan, from President Buhari, what we have seen has been an ethnicization of the powers of the federal government. And of course, Buhari took it one step further. And what we have seen with the Tinubu government is also another step forward. It's not good for the unity of the country. If you now say that whenever anybody that comes from any state, any place comes into office, the first thing he will do is to appropriate everything to his area. So what are you telling the rest of the people? You know, statecraft is a very careful balancing act which you must try as much as possible to do. Well, the point is that the decision on what to do lies with the president.
Very well, then. I think another concern, which I think I've heard some members of parliament mouth, is the increase in the cost of governance at a time like this when, you know, Parliament itself is calling for the implementation of the Orosanye report. And that's a call that's been echoed by even civil society organizations. Then a new ministry. Is it a concern for you?
Yes, it is. In fact, it's not just for this. It's for the whole importances of government. You know, one of the very, very difficult things that happens when you're in the public eye is that even when you say this is not right, everyone that wants to criticize you will just take it from an ethnic standpoint, or maybe you're supporting A or supporting B. You understand? And if you quote anybody, they will say, oh, you're quoting him because you like me. So I will take it this way. Donyo Okupe made some allusions to this. First, to say, maybe we're not understanding that we're on the Titanic. And while the ship is sinking at the bottom, we're still at the top floor, at the ballroom, dancing. And that was what happened. And before they knew it, the ship sank and everyone, except a few people, were left. I think it was Donyi that first said it. Then secondly, Peter Obi also mentioned something like that by saying, if you're in a hole, stop digging. We're a poor country. We are totally indebted everywhere. We are scrambling for more loans and all that. We can't live ostentatiously. And everyone knows that. Yet, we seem not to even look at that. And so we are doing this, we are doing that, we are buying a plane, we are giving cars to people, we are creating more things. I mean, anybody who, let's say you're a businessman, you want to go and borrow from a bank, and you drive to a bank in a Rolls Royce, what do you think the bank manager will do? You're driving a Rolls Royce when you don't have enough money to fuel it. Why do you have to drive a Rolls Royce? You understand? And I think that that's exactly what is going on now. So maybe we need to take a step backwards and ask ourselves several things. Is the way we are living the right way? What is going on today? Is that the best way for us? The unfortunate thing that we have today in Nigeria is that even
so
when
you can imagine that these
intentions
people get into offices, they don't care about what will
that are
profit the
meant to
Nigerian
guide
people,
us
what the
aright,
Nigerian
that are
people will
meant to
benefit
take
from.
our
They
ship
are focused
away
on what
from
will benefit them. Why
dog
is
that is
Tinubu
in
not
front
talking
of
about the
us.
IDPs? Why is Tinubu not remembering those that have been chased out of their homes? Instead of him to even set up a ministry to see how to, bring back these people who have left their homes, their children are not in school, they don't even know what their future will become. They are now living in, schools that some of them, their roofs are not good. Their toilets are not good. Oh my God. Why is it that Tinubu has not deemed it necessary to establish a ministry that will focus in bringing the IDPs back to their houses? Why is it that Tinubu cannot summon these Fulani communities to talk to them and talk to their elders, to tell their people who have come from different parts of different parts of the world to occupy lands, communities that do not originally belong to them? Why is it that Tinubu is not taking steps to unify this country? Their quest is only for power. They want to come back in 2027. What have you achieved, Tinubu? What have you achieved in this your first time? What do you intend to achieve? Nigerians have not seen any achievement. Okay, you are left with 2 years plus to complete your 4 years. What are you intending to achieve before that time? Why are you not remembering those that are suffering? You can imagine what those in the IDPs will be going through now that there is no food in the land. People who have businesses are crying. People who have sources of income are crying. Let alone people who have been chased away from their original land. They can't enter their farms or their garden to plant pepper and pick it up for cooking. And Tinubu does not care. So guys, honestly, I feel like tearing. Watching what is happening in this country, you just know that leadership remains our biggest challenge. Where do we find patriotic leaders? Where do we find leaders whose heartbeat is all about the progress of Nigeria? Why is it that people come into office, they forget the masses and focus on their own personal interests? Why is this government not calling a spade a spade? Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.